ahead of schedule. I would like to congratulate all the honorees here tonight. Your accomplishments are impressive and worthy of the selection to the Hall of Fame. I'd also like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for this honor, for all those who contributed to that. Since the 73 and 74 teams talked about me, I should talk about them a little bit. In 1973, they won the state meet. The state meet had been held since 1960, and a prep team had never finished higher than 8th place. So their win in 1973 was the start of the long blue line, followed up by another state championship in 74, and a runner-up state finish where they lost by 2 points in 1975. And since then, there have been numerous high finishes. There was only 3 times that prep teams did not qualify for state. The long blue line started with the classes, prep classes of 74, 75, and 76, and the runners in those classes. Now on the way in this evening, someone asked me, how did I end up coaching cross country? How did you select cross country? Well, as many of these runners said, their entry into cross country had an interesting story. And for a lot of them, it began with Father Ted Calamea. He would pin them against the locker and ask them, what sport are you going out for? And all of a sudden they would find themselves running cross country. It seems, I can't believe that, I've been coaching for 27 years. It seems like only yesterday. But the years did go by quickly. As I mentioned, it began with Father Ted Calamea inviting me to assist with the cross-country team in 1970. Then Father Calamea went on a sabbatical. And Don Leahy called me into his office during the summer of 1971 and offered me the varsity cross-country coaching job. I was 23 years old. I don't think he really offered it to me. I think he told me I would be the varsity cross-country coach. There were 22 runners that year. And I don't remember having an assistant coach. I inherited some great runners and some developing runners. The guys who were honored here this evening from the classes of 73 and 74. They instilled in me a love of cross country, and it was hard for me to leave them when it was my time to leave for theology studies in 1974. I followed the team and their successes intently the next 2 years from Massachusetts. I would anxiously await meet results and newspaper clippings. There was no internet or email to check for results. When I returned to prep in 1985 for 9 years to work, someone else had the cross-country coaching job. And so all I could do was attend meets. And I left prep I returned to prep in 1978 when somebody else had the cross-country job, and I left prep in 1985 for 9 years to work on the Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota. And then I returned in 1994 as superior for the Jesuit community. And that job lasted until 2001. Now, coincidentally, the cross-country coaching position became open at that time, and I applied for that position. Unfortunately for me, Dave Powers, the assistant coach at the time, didn't apply for the job. And so Tom Deneen offered me the head coaching position. And so I have Father Ted Calamea, Don Leahy, the cross-country teams of 1971, 72, and 73, Tom Deneen, and Dave Powers to thank in a very special way for my being here tonight to receive this award. Of course, I've had many runners since 2001 to the present team who are responsible for my presence here tonight. I've also had some outstanding assistant coaches. In a very special way, I want to thank Dave Powers, who stayed on as assistant coach with me for many years. We developed a great cross-country coaching relationship. Two other assistant coaches here tonight are Dan Tejan and Father Ahmed D'Souza. They have been Dan was a assistant coach for the freshmen, and very successful with the freshman runners for many years. And Father Ahmed, who has been an invaluable assistant the past 2 seasons. I want to thank you for all your help. I'm honored to have so many of my former runners here tonight. You were a joy to coach most of the time. Being with the runners on a daily basis helped to keep me young. I have had the opportunity to meet some great young men and their parents coaching cross country. I've developed some lifelong relationships. I saw runners develop lifelong relationships from friendships that developed during cross country. I also learned that winning was not the most important thing, but building community was important. I have great memories of all those who I coached on varsity teams. I presided at some of their weddings and attended others. I attended their prep reunions and kept contact with them and their parents. A final reflection. A coach is only as successful as its runners. And I've had some great runners. State champions in Pat Colbert and John Nouns, and this year's school record holder in Dennis Tillman. All three were keys to the three state championship teams I coached. But for me, success was not in state championships, but in building community among the cross-country runners. Thank you all for this award.